It's him. And I did finish All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. Cosby, no R. I will remember, I promise. Got it in my head now, correctly. A few years ago, 2 maybe years ago, I picked up Razorblade Tears because everyone was talking about it. It sounded like the kind of thing I would love to read, so I was excited. I don't think I made it more than about 50 or 60 pages in, though. I don't know if I just was not in the right frame of mind for it, but something about the 2 main characters, which are a white father and a black father whose gay sons were murdered in some kind of hate crime, and they need to team up to solve what happened. There was something about that. Usually I love, first of all, Southern Gothic. Second of all, like, mismatched people, you know, grumpy sunshine or just disparate personalities. It's one of my favorite tropes. So it should have worked for me, but for whatever reason it wasn't working for me. And I haven't picked it back up again. It's on my bookshelf. I might try it again later. But then I heard about this one and decided maybe I would try a different book. It wasn't like the writing was bad, right? Like, I just, for whatever reason, the characters weren't working for me. And this one I really enjoyed. I would say if you like the first season of True Detective, then this would be right up your alley. That's one of my favorite all-time television shows, except for season 2, but the first season, very much, I love it. Partly because I have some personal relationship to the material, but this book is similar to the first season of True Detective in the small town murder mystery serial killing element, not so much in the, you know, 2 police detectives personality thing, because we really are just focused on the sheriff of this small town in Sharon County. Titus Crown is the sheriff's name. He is the first black sheriff ever. He's only been there on the job for about a year. He grew up there, went away to school, was in the FBI for a while, and eventually came home. The circumstances around him leaving the FBI are hinted out throughout the book and then fully explained towards the end of the story. I'm not going to spoil it for people who might want to read. What you are going to get from here on out, though, are some plot points that if you want to go in blind like I did, I would click off now, because I am going to just talk a little bit about the plot without giving away the solution, or if I do later in the video, you will get a spoiler warning sign up on the screen. But basically, Titus, the book starts with a shooting at the high school. This kid has shot a very well-liked geography teacher, and then he is taken out by deputies on the steps of the school after waving a gun around and saying some really kind of incomprehensible things. And then we discover from the dead teacher's phone that there was some really terrible things going on. It goes from there. It leads them to a cache of dead and buried bodies of children. They're not even sure, like, where these kids came from, because, you know, there aren't, like, missing kids from their town, so these kids were clearly picked up elsewhere. The video recordings that Titus finds, I'm pleased that we were given just enough information to get a sense of how horrific they are without it being explicit, because I'm not really into explicit gore. I don't read, like, really gory stuff. And this, you know, stayed just below the level of my tolerance, or just at the level, I guess. So at this point, Titus is needing to figure out who killed all these kids, who these kids even are, and then other people around town start also to be murdered. But most likely because they know more than they should, or so it's Titus trying to put these pieces together. There's a little bit of, he has a girlfriend and his ex comes to visit because his ex is a podcaster. So there's a little bit of that, but it doesn't delve. We get a lot of Titus and his elderly father, a little bit of Titus and his ne'er-do-well brother. I really enjoyed the family dynamic aspects of this, actually. I thought they were well delineated and well written. Like, all of those characters felt very well crafted. A lot of these deputies, I felt, got a little bit short shrift. There are one or two that have distinct personalities, and the rest of them, I was kind of going, oh, which one is that again? I think it would make a really good, limited series in the way that True Detective was a limited series. I think some of the side characters could get more fleshed out in something like that, and that would be cool, interesting. I will say, I picked this book up, I read it relatively quickly, considering I'm going between it and the Queen of the Damned to reread. I will say the solution to the mystery was not my favorite. Mostly, it's one of those things, and if you don't want to know even a little bit, again, click off. It's one of those things where you're introduced to so many townspeople around, and you're not really given enough breadcrumbs to figure it out on your own. And that always feels a little bit like a cheat to me. That's kind of not fair to the reader. If you like a good mystery novel, it's kind of not fair that you can't draw the line for yourself. There were definitely some characters where I was like, this guy has something going on, and this guy has something going on. And for the most part, I was usually right, just not in the way that I thought they might be involved. They were tangentially involved, but not directly involved, let's say. So I appreciated some of the payoffs there, but then when we find out the real culprit, it was just like, really? I don't know. That part was maybe a little bit I really like Southern Gothic. This is set in Virginia, deep in the South with the roots. There is an ongoing conflict with the Sons of the Confederacy trying to protect a statue of some Rebel Joe type thing, and counter-protesters. Having grown up in the South myself, and it felt very true to that world. I'm like, yeah, this is legitimate, right? So I really appreciated that. I really thought, for the most part, I really liked the mystery. I thought the characters, like I said, most of them were well crafted. There were a few that felt extraneous or like they weren't given as much to do. But and the love interest angle was a little bit weak. I guess it's not a super long book. It's 340-ish pages. So, if he'd wanted to explore that more, it would have been a much bulkier book. But I think keeping the focus on the mystery was probably the right call. This didn't need a bunch of extra romance stuff going on. So yeah, like I said, tonally very similar to the first season of True Detective, aside from not really having the buddy element, because you're really just focused on Titus the whole time. But I gave it 4.5 stars, rounded it up to 5 on Goodreads. Mostly just because I didn't love the solution, and I did feel a little cheated on that. But the crafting of this town, the voice, as you're seeing everything through Titus, it's not first person, but you're with Titus the whole time. Well, I shouldn't say that. There are a couple of interesting places where you're getting the counties like personified. It starts actually with the county as a personification talking about its own history or what it knows of the people that inhabit it. And there are a couple of places where briefly you're with a local person, usually who discovers some kind of horrific crime scene. So, but that's very limited. Most of this is you're with Titus, even though it's in the third person, you're with him and, you know, hearing his thoughts and as he works things out, as he puzzles out things. And, you know, and it's good because you know everything he knows. So I guess to some extent, the solution is maybe he's just as surprised as you are when you're just like, this guy? What? But yeah, but like I said, yeah, 4.5 to 5 stars. I'll try Razorblade Tears again, maybe at some point. Not right away. I am going to finish Queen of the Damned now. I'm in the middle of the first part of Maharet's very lengthy explanation of how it all began, let's say. So it will take time to get through it, but the next book video I do will be about that in some form or fashion. Anyway, if you have read this or something else by S.A. Cosby and think I should know about it, or you read something similar to this by someone else and you think I would like it, please let me know. I'm always looking for recommendations, suggestions, that kind of thing. And until next time, take care.